Keychain. This is my Kingdom Raid footage from March 12th of 2021. So I hope you enjoy that. Now later in the video, there's a little teaser of this feeding frenzy. So I'll show you what this was all about, and if you've never been a part of these, they're really fun. So let's get into the actual killing. This was the first hive that I landed in. They had a lot of unshielded castles, but most of them were already dead. Um, there were a few that had small amounts of resources and small amounts of troops, but for the most part, I tried to edit out as many of the dead scouts as I could. So when I go into a hive, normally, I scout everything. I'm always looking for resources, and little castles or dead castles, castles people are trying to hide, those are the ones that usually have resources. So it's, very rarely is it, the C38 or C40 that has a ton of resources. It's like the Castle 20 that people have been dumping resources onto to hide them, or it's a farm, or, something like that. So that's usually what I'm after. So I'm scouting like the C8s and the C10s and all of it. So the other thing about these, I try my best as far as editing and that type of stuff, but I'm working on it. It's a new skill. I'm trying to learn it, and some of my transitions aren't as good as they could be, or I just didn't have the video to work with. So, if you don't like the style of it, I'm working on it. So, the other thing I can do while we're, watching these kills, I don't normally talk a lot about myself, but I figured I'd let you guys know a little bit about me. So during all of this YouTube stuff and the videos and all that I'm doing, I also have a full-time job, and I work as a desktop support technician. And I've been studying for a degree in cybersecurity for the last 2 years. Now, it's an online self-paced university, so any of my free time that I'm not doing YouTube or other stuff, I'm studying, and I'm almost done with that. So I'm super excited because that will leave me more time for YouTube content and stuff like this, to actually spend more time creating and editing and doing all this type of stuff. So that's a little bit about me. All right, so this was a decent kill. Now the other thing you'll notice is still attacking the same person like 3 or 4 times over and over and over again. And I tried to just cut out the marches, but I can't get those big kill numbers like we used to, and I know a lot of bigger castles can't. So they definitely changed the mechanics. People also said there were some other reasons why it might be happening. I'm hoping that the new guards might increase the kills a little bit, just because they increase everything by 20%. You can use those active abilities to increase your your distance attack and your distance health, and there's lots of cool stuff coming. So it looks like if you use your strategies right and you line everything up, that you're going to be able to do some massive hits on people's castles. And one of the times that we'll definitely see the biggest benefits of that will be on this weekend's Kingdom versus Kingdom. Also in Darklands, which would be tomorrow. I was originally planning to stream Darklands live, but I'm working like a 12 or a 13-hour day on Friday. I work the vaccine clinic support for the COVID vaccines. And when we do one of those, we've been doing them on Fridays. It's a long day. I need to get there before 6 in the morning, and I'm usually there till 6:30 or 7 p.m. at night. But it's a worthy cause, and I enjoy the work. So I will have a hard time streaming or getting video footage from this one, because I'll be doing little bits here and there in between actually working. So we'll see if I can get some stuff going. I'm also working on a Darklands tips and tricks video, kind of things that I've learned, things that I want to share. I know there's some other videos out there about Darklands and how those things, what people do and what strategies. So I just want to share some of the things I've noticed or some of the things that I've learned over the last couple, including, the test server and that type of stuff. Okay, so back to the video. Seeing I scout everything. I do cut out the scouts when there's nothing there. That happens quite a bit where I'll do 30 scouts and only 4 or 5 of them are worth looking at. Now the other thing you'll see is I star or I favorite every single, oh, there's some resources. So this person had 125 million wood, so I want that. When there's resources on a castle like this, I try and get as close as I can so that I can grab them as fast as I can in case someone else comes or in case they bubble. If I'm doing 1.5 minute marches and they show up 10 minutes later, I haven't gotten that much done. But if I'm only 25 seconds away, it cuts the time it takes me to retrieve all those resources by a third or by 3 times. So, cuts it by 300%, which it's worth a port to me to try and get the resources. I love getting resources more than kills. And yeah, you'll learn that about me if you watch my Kingdom Raid videos. You'll see that resources are my biggest motivator. Now the other problem I have, if you look at my resources at the top, I have a lot of iron. One of these Kingdom Raids, I don't remember which one, it was a couple ago, somebody had just so much iron on them. And I took it, but now I just have iron for days. I have 428 million iron, and I'm using all the other resources around it to try and upgrade stuff and use it, and I'm giving it away, and I still have tons. I don't know. I remember when I was leveling, iron was super hard to get for a long time, and now I just have too much of it. It's like I don't know when the transition happened, but yeah, it's just I'm just giving it away to anybody in my kingdom that wants some because I just have so much of it, and that's nothing. Like you'll see on some of these big castles, they've got billions of resources, just billions of resources sitting. You'll notice they always have a ton of iron. And then food, I used to have food all the time. And when I was littler, now food, I never have enough food. Like I'm always looking for food. I created a farm just to be able to gather and store food, just because I never have enough. So let's see. Back in here, this was the GER hive. Oh, and this kingdom, by the way, this is Kingdom 450. I spent the majority of my time in Kingdom 450 because it was a new alliance, or a new kingdom to us. Anytime there's a new kingdom in our list, because for the longest time, we had the same 5 or 6 kingdoms for Kingdom Raid every single time. It was months of just the same 5 or 6 kingdoms. And it was so boring because all the same people they just knew that we were coming. They knew Dark was there. They knew who our power players were, and they would just bubble up and not participate because, they know who we are. When we get a new kingdom, they don't realize how savage we are. So some of them don't bubble, or they want to come and try and, come into 524 and get some kills, and we quickly chase them out and collect their resources and say thank you. But the other thing you'll notice here, I did kill all these little small castles just because I was already there. Sometimes I won't bother with small amounts of troops, but if my main march is already, marching at somebody and I don't have anything to do with my other marches, I'll kill small castles or farms or whatever just because I'm already there. I already used the port. It is a kill event, so I might as well maximize it. Oh, all right, so there were my stats. No, I think those were without airship. So it wasn't quite as high. But I tend not to show that screen because after the first one or two times, you have an idea what my stats are. So this was the Hive BAR. Now, I had these guys bookmarked, and I checked them a lot during um, during this Kingdom raid, just because I was after a few that were bubbled from the start, and I got some pretty decent kills in here, but I also made a mistake, and it'll be a little bit later in the video, and when it happens, I'll show you exactly what happened and what my mistake was. So maybe you can learn from my mistakes and not do it yourself. So look at here, this castle I'm attacking, Sir Pontiac, is getting reinforced. And is getting reinforced by 2 castles. Now I beat the first one, which was great, and the other guy pulled out. And I didn't know what kind of stats they had or what would happen if both of the rains landed at the same time. So I figured this guy's kills aren't worth it. I already got half of them. It's not worth me getting the rest of them. So I'm gonna move down to a different part of their hive. So I got a scout from across the river. Now this isn't very far from where I just was. It's just a hop across the lake to the north. But there were more castles down here, so I wanted to get those kills, and I ported down there to do it. Now the other thing that I was doing, I couldn't make up my mind here, and you'll see. So there were 2 castles down here that had a lot of troops. And normally when I find one like that, I hit the same castle over and over and over again to get all the kills. But this time, I was bouncing back and forth. And we'll see that start in just a second here. So this guy had a lot of kills. This, I think it's Beograd. And then the one right next to me, Milan, had a lot of kills. But I kept sending my main march back and forth rather than hitting one, and zeroing him, then getting the other. Now the other thing that I can't do, or I don't like to do because of heavy losses, is attacking into a lot of troops. I don't send any march besides my airship. So I only attack with my airship march because that minimizes my losses, and it makes it so that I can continue to Kingdom Raid without taking a bunch of losses. And the airship makes such a huge difference. Like, it's crazy how much of a difference the airship makes. I wish that the loner airship or the mercenary airship was not so expensive. If the mercenary airship was less expensive or available with gold, I would absolutely purchase it for Kingdom Raid because it would make things faster to be able to send 5 marches with airship. But the amount of damage stat that you get on your airship, you can't match that without, and the combat difference it's just too much. So that is another thing about Darklands that I do really like. In the Darklands, they added a mercenary airship to every march, and it's really fun. And I think it's a good strategy for them as far as making money because it gets people used to having that mercenary airship or getting to experience it and seeing how awesome it is. And then they might be tempted to spend the money for the mercenary airship for, a day or 7 days. And I don't know what they sell them for, but, it's a significant amount. And if I had more money to spend, I might consider doing it. But right now, I don't have that much just for an airship, just to speed my Kingdom Raid up a little bit. Like, I'd rather just take my time at this point. Alright, so still getting a lot of kills. Back up top to these guys. So we ported back up because we found more castles with troops. So we're continuing to just torture this one single alliance that doesn't have their shield up. Now the other thing they could have done, and they could have stopped me pretty much in my tracks, is to use their alliance shield. I was here for a while. It was a good amount of time that I was in this hive, and they had people reinforcing. So that means they had people who could have activated the shield or let somebody know. So, mistake is coming up, and let's see it firsthand. Now, this is a lesson in cockiness. So, what do I mean? You will see, and this is kind of ties into what I was talking about with the airship. There's such a huge difference between having your airship and not. So this guy had resources. I was after the resources, so I sent 3 marches. The first march, I got the kills, and then I was sending additional marches to get resources. Now, see that guy Heisenberg? He was reinforcing, but he was in there, and he was in there for that first hit, and I beat him. So I was like, okay, like this guy's not going to be able to do anything, right? So I sent 3 marches. This is my my bravado, my cockiness, messing with what I should have known better. And you see here, so I'm attacking with the main march, my airship march. He's watching my airship march hit, and he sees the other little marches. Okay, so there I'm getting the resources. Like, woo, I've got 2 more marches. I'll get all that. I see him reinforce this, and I think right here, I'm like, I'm gonna speed hit a march in there to take it out with my airship. And I think about it, and I click it, and I say, nah, my guys will be fine. They'll be fine. This guy's got nothing, right? Oh, so wrong. I was so wrong. Look at this. I just lost so many troops to my cockiness. I should have sped hit that in. I should have known better, but I didn't. So I lost a ton of troops. All of it going after 10 million wood. So I poured it away. I was after this guy, and another bad attack. you know, that's a bad run. 3 bad attacks in a row. And look at this. Like, my stats are higher in a lot of categories, but he just had a ton of, infantry stuff on there. Plus he had the new guards on the wall. I barely did any damage, so it was pretty crazy. Okay, now we're in the feeding frenzy. So look at how many marches are going in here. We had all kinds of people from different kingdoms in here looting and raiding this guy as fast as they could. It was insane. I absolutely love when this happens. Everybody's there to get the resources. Look at these resources. He's got 1 billion food, 2 billion wood, lots of silver, and not much iron. So we were just in there getting as much as we could, and half of the people here could have zeroed me really quick if they wanted to. If they wanted to waste a march to do that, they could have just smashed me out of there. But that's not the focus when you're here for a feeding frenzy. Everybody's after the resources. Look at this. There are so many troops, airships, marches, everything in there. It's scary to be there, and it's fun, and my troop load is nothing like these other people. Like, I'm getting good chunks of resources here, but not like these other ones. So see here, that was after a couple of minutes, and he was down to 76 million silver, and I cut some of that out and finally bubbled. So he was finally able to bubble and save like 60 million silver that he had left, but he lost a lot of resources that day. Okay, so this is another hive that I watched. This one is not in 450. This one is in 486. Actually, I already cut past that. So the kick guys are in 486, and now here I'm back into 450 again. So I must not have liked the footage that I had there and just showed that one attack. So yeah, back to these guys. I watched these guys for a long time too, and they had their shields up for most of the event, but I was finally able to, get in there when some of them were dropping and get some kills. And one of the things that happened here that I always get a little worried about is when someone has anti-scout up. I always worry when I see anti-scout just because it could be a trap. Like, we used to set traps for people all the time. And I don't think it's as effective as it used to be, but this guy's annex, when I see an anti-scout, it's like, ugh, who could be reinforcing him? That, what if he has 5 million of his own troops and he's got, 800,000 tier 12 reinforcement? You just never know what you're going to get. So, I mean, imagine, like, we used to do it with Dark Mystic. And his stats are insane. So imagine Dark Mystic dropping in there and having it, hidden troops. You're going to lose an entire march, and you never knew it was coming unless you know what's going to happen. You take the risk attacking into a anti-scout castle. Okay, so almost done cleaning these guys up. I wish that sometimes I could get closer to these, but it doesn't always happen. And always scouting. I'm always scouting, even these little castles. So scouting anything I can to look for resources, because you never know what one of these guys would put on a tiny castle next to him. My farm, I loaded up. It's holding tons of food because I can't hold food in my main castle. If my farm shield drops and someone finds it, they're going to get a couple 100 million food. I tried my best to keep the shield up so that doesn't happen, but that could happen to anybody. These guys could be dumping food onto a castle, and that would be my dream. To find a couple 100 million food would be fantastic. That would be more tier 12s. That would be, some of the buildings that I'm behind on. I need 680 million food for Castle 41. I almost have the badges I need, but it's going to take me a while to save up that food. Even gathering all day long and sending it to the farm, it's still going to take a while to get that much food. So we're getting towards the end of the video here. I was just, looking for anything else I could. And I think I'm about to finish off the troops on Lucifer, and then I think I'm about done. I don't remember what else I did or if I went somewhere else. I don't think I did, but I guess I can look ahead a little bit. No, it looks like there's a little bit left. I did something else. So here we are we're gonna attack Xanax. And I did my life preserver and just did whatever I could to minimize the damage in case he did have a lot of troops. Or she, I don't know which one. And it wasn't that bad. So they had, 3.1 million troops. I got about half of them in the first hit. And then we're going to go back and finish it off. So because I was towards the end of what I wanted to do for Kingdom Raid, I went for it. I was like, we're just going to go for it and see what happens. And it worked out for me this time. It could have gone poorly, but I got lucky. So there I got another 900,000, and this last hit I'm hoping to finish it off, but I'm also after a little bit of resources that she had. So I'm sending all of my marches following the airship so that I can clean the resources up and get out of there. So we got the troops with the last hit, and then sending all my little leprechaun guys to finish cleaning up all the resources. And I check the 0 kill, 0 death reports to see what kind of resources are in the report, because that's how I can tell that I've cleaned it all out, is when there's nothing left. See there, it's only a couple thousand resources that I collected. So here's where I ranked for the Kingdom Raid. I got 3rd. And I also showed that at the beginning of the video. So that is it for this one. Thank you for watching. Remember to hit the like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.